FST table this week. We're going to look at decks from the 3 regionals this past week. Some cool ones, might not necessarily topped, but some cool ones that might have caught my eye and things. But today we're going to start with a deck that top 8'd in the Toronto Regional Championships. Good old Jake Gearhart playing Palkia with Articuno. So obviously, you know, Jake on Twitter, they've been posting, there's a lot of Lugia counters. It's kind of a meme, but you're like, oh yeah, you know, there are also kind of a lot of counters. And I was very interested to see what Jake would go with, because obviously it would be a counter to Lugia. And Jake did not disappoint, revitalizing the Palkia archetype with a new Articuno to get the Lugia decks. So the Lugia decks don't really run switch cards, so I believe the strategy here is you just kind of tag with your Articuno, you paralyze them and stuff like that, because Articuno does Ice Wing for 20, great. While it frees 70 for 2, it does 50 to do itself. Your opponent's active is now paralyzed, so you can hit them and then paralyze them, and then get the prize trade back on your end via the Inteleon or attacking with Palkia or stuff like that. And there are a couple ways, there's a way to keep it from getting knocked out by itself too. So let us jump into the rest of the deck and see what allowed Jake to be insane. I also want to say that looks like in Senior Division, Michael Davidson also top 8'd with this deck. So congratulations to them as well. So let us see here. So we have those 2 Articuno, obviously, like I said. You got a Drapion V, great against Mew. You basically knock out a Mew VMAX, so then you only have to worry about knocking out 1 the rest of the game. And if for some reason they have Lost City, you can just Ordinary Rod it back, and it's really free, basically. Then we got Manaphy, prevent all damage done to your bench Pokemon, pretty standard there. We got the 2/2 Palkia line. If you're unfamiliar with Palkia VSTAR, this ruled the past format. Lost Origin, one of the top decks there. The format was short-lived because of how they're doing release schedules in preparation for Scarlet and Violet. But let's take a look at the card here. For 2 water, 60 plus, 20 more damage for each bench Pokemon, yours and your opponent's. So with your Inteleon modifiers or whatever, you can hit a lot of damage. The reason this started to fall off was because Lugia, and you can just one-shot Palkia easily, and it was really hard to come back. And then it's got that sick V-Star power, 1 a game, Star Portal. Once during the game, you may attach up to 3 water energy cards for a minutes quality water Pokemon any way you like. So it's an instant power-up for any Pokemon in your deck that is not named Drapion. So if you got to hit that Manaphy for 20 to win, get those stop points. But usually you can power up the Articuno out of nowhere if you miss an energy and tell them to attack. And of course Palkia and the Radiant Greninja that we see here, one of those in your deck as well. Concealed cards, discard energy, draw 2, pretty busted. Nothing really else to say. Just a very good Radiant Pokemon. Most your go-to Radiant Pokemon, I would say, definitely top of the list, followed by like Charizard. So then it does do more than like Shuriken, discard 2 energy. This attack does 90 to your opponent's Pokemon. So if your opponent does not get a Manaphy and they got 2 knockable Pokemon out, turn 2, you just Palkia on there, hit them for 90. Then we got the Inteleon line. We got Sobble with Keep Calling. It just gets more Sobbles. If you have to, we got the Drizzile. When you play this card from your hand, you evolve your Pokemon. Search for a trainer, put in your hand, and then we got Inteleon, which does the same thing, but you get 2 trainers. It also knows Aqua Bullet, 120 and 20 to one of your opponent's bench, and then usually there's 2 of those and 1 of this one, but based on the Articuno strategy, Jake said no, we are going 2 quick shooting Inteleon, says once during a turn, put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. So you can set up the math to knock out Pokemon during your turn, so you get to attack a new one. So you attack him for 70, you do 70 again, you're like, oh, what does the math do? You get 1 or 2 Inteleons. I mean, you're just getting knockouts on your turn, so that way they have to bring a new Pokemon, and that swings the game even further. So imagine you knock out a V with your Inteleon, they got to bring a new Pokemon, you're like, wow, I'll knock that out with Palkia, or just paralyze you again. Jake is pretty smart, one of the smartest players I have met. I did get a chance to meet them in Utah. They were amazing. They played very well. And a quick shout out to the real life deck list, which did use E-Series Water Energy, which is the top tier water energy if you're going to play Palkia. Let's jump on to the trainers there. We got Battle VIP Pass. Obviously, this card, so good. You can only use it during your first turn, but search 2 base Pokemon and put them on your bench. We got 3 Capacious Bucket. You got to get those waters in your hand for your Greninja and to attack. Your Greninja fuels everything. You discard with Greninja, get them back with Palkia. Pretty self-explanatory there, but you want 3 because that's more ways to get water energy without possibly having to use a Drizzile. But if you do, it's fine, because you just Drizzile for 2 basic energy, and that is also pretty amazing. You got the 3 Evolution Incense. Obviously, you got 3, 6, 8 Evolution Pokemon in your deck. You want to get a 2. And remember, the best part of all these trainers, you can just grab them with your Drizzile and or Inteleon, which is pretty sick. We got the one to Hisuian Heavy Ball. Obviously, you got all those basics you don't want in the prizes. I mean, Articuno, Greninja, even Sobble, Palkia, or you're facing Mew. You got to get him. This card is very crucial and a staple. We only have 1 Level Ball. Traditionally, Inteleon decks will play 3 to 4 Level Ball. But if you look at this, with the Evolution Incense to get your Drizziles and stuff, you don't really need too much to get the Sobble, especially because Articuno does not have 90 HP, and that is more important to get out at the beginning or later in the game, so you don't have a dead Ultra Ball, or dead Level Ball, in your hand that does nothing. Then we got the Ordinary Rod, shuffle up to 2 Pokemon for Disc Ball in your deck, and or shuffle up to 2 basic energy cards from Disc Ball. So sometimes you got the Articuno, gets knocked out, you don't have the Heavy Ball, you got to put it back in your deck. Or Greninja, something happens, that Drapion gets knocked out without that Lost City in play. Easy mode right there. So, definitely a good card. Also put back the energy for late game. You never know, sometimes you have to do some weird discards with the Quick Ball early. Speaking of Quick Ball, there are 3 of them. So you got the 3 Quick Ball there to get those basics. We got the 3 Scoop Up Net, so mainly to pick up the Drizzile and Inteleon line to get it back down. So let you use abilities more than once. So if you have like 2 Drizziles in play, you're like Inteleon, scoop up that one, Inteleon, or you can get 2 quick shootings off if you have it that way. Inteleon, scoop up net, Inteleon. Lots of cool things you can do. Also pick up your Greninja, you want to do it again. Even Manaphy BRS with it, you can't retreat. Not ideal, but you can do that one. Or if you got a play where you can like pick up Articuno, you discard the energy, but then you can Palkia them back on. Also really good. Then we got the stadiums here. We got 1 Lost City. A Lost City has become popular in a lot of decks. It's good against Regis. It's good against, it's also good against other Sobbles. So let's say your opponent's playing a deck with Sobble, and they don't get Manaphy out, and you pop that Greninja. Put 2 Sobbles in the Lost Zone. Pretty insane there. It's just cards you never know when you're going to need it against, Lost Zone decks. If they're variants that play 1 Sableye, you get that Sableye in the Lost Zone. Just things you don't have to worry about later, and it can just help you in the long run. Or if they open, a random Pokemon they don't want to, and, they have Ordinary Rod in their deck, and get a quick knockout. Get those there, which is pretty sick. Then we got the 1 Training Court. 1 string each player's turn. That player may put a basic energy from their Disc Ball in your hand. Obviously, helps you with your Greninja, basically makes it free. You're discarding that energy, drawing 2, getting it back, or, if you just need an energy late game, because you used your V-Star ability, very good there. Let's go on to the supporters here. We got the 2 Bosses orders. I mean, Boss Order, by now, we all know how insane it is to finish off games, but in this deck, it can help you start your Articuno stall. So you bring up that random Crobat, or you're playing against, Lugia, you get the, I'm going to bring up the Archeops, you hit it for 70, they're paralyzed, you hit it for 70 again, they're paralyzed, you Inteleon that one to finish it off, they got to bring up a new Pokemon, you boss it, you put out the second bosses, you're doing a bunch of stuff, really great card, just already great, helps even more to get your Articuno lock going. Then we got 4 Irida. If you're playing water, you're probably playing Irida. Search for a water Pokemon and an item. Put them in your hand. Shuffle your deck. Insane turn 1, you get the VIP Pass out. Boom, you get whatever you want and VIP Pass. Or, sometimes turn 2, you're just like, alright, I'll get my Drizzile. Or, a favorite play is if you have a good start already, and you don't really need an Irida for, a VIP Pass turn 1. Greninja, Capacious Bucket. Start drawing those 2 cards. With the amount of items we have in our deck, this is a very good card late game too, because you get your Scoop Up Nets. Like I said, the Evolution Incense Capacious Bucket, all those things, pretty cool. You get that Choice Belt or the super cool tool we'll go over in a second. Now you got 2 Raihans. A big thing you're going to notice is once you use the Palkia ability, if you get one shot by something or you don't have an ideal field to attach, it's going to be really hard to recover because you do need 2 energy, and that is where Raihan comes in handy. You can only play it if your Pokemon was knocked out last turn. Attach basic energy from your discard pile to a Pokemon, search for any card. So, it helps you get right back. let's say something happened and maybe you didn't have the best start, you know, you missed something turn 1 or 2, and your opponent takes the lead, and you're like, well, that's crazy. I'm going to Raihan, and I'm going to take the lead back. And I will take the advantage, and then paralyze you with Articuno, and it's really my turn. So, super cool card there. Or if you need that winning card, you're like, all right, I need the energy, you know, but I also need to get quick shooting. Oh, well, wait, Raihan gets anything, so get up, you do that too. Great card, love that. We got the one Roxanne. Only suit if your opponent has 3 prizes or fewer. Each player shuffles their hand deck and you draw 6, they draw 2. Imagine doing that and then paralyzing them with Articuno. You're like, that's crazy. Articuno. So your opponent has a 2-card hand. Now, if you're me, they'll always draw what they need, but it is what it is. But imagine they just draw something and you paralyze them. Now, their turn's done, right? Usually, you know, you want to get a Roxanne, and then hopefully you can knock them out anyway. But if you can, you got to get that Articuno going. You're like, all right, Roxanne. Yep, I'm going to paralyze you. Or even if you know you have the quick shooting knockout on your turn, you Roxanne, then you knock them out. So you got the 6 plus the 2 possibly, and then you get to attack again. And they're possibly down 2 Pokemon. You're drawing 2 to 4 prizes, you know, hopefully, and they got 2 cards in their hand. And you're just like, that's crazy. I'm pretty sure I win now. We got the one Serena, new card. 2 modes here. Discard 3 cards from your hand. You must discard at least 1 card. If you do, draw cards until you have 5. Discard's good. That mode is good for, I mean, sometimes you got draw. Sometimes you're like, well, I have 3 Battle VIP Passes in my hand. That sucks. And you don't want to draw them later if you get Marnie into Roxanne yourself. So you discard them. It also helps put water in the discard pile if you needed, you know, to do that. And then the second mode, so you do choose one. Switch one of your opponent's bench V. So it is not technically as good as Boss's Orders because you can only bring up a V, but that is okay. It just adds the bonus of being a mini Boss's Orders along with being a draw card, which is pretty sweet. Then we got the one Thorton here. Love this card. Glad Jake played this card. Jake's my hero. Just my spirit animals, Jake. You're the best, Jake. So, you Thorton. Thorton says choose base Pokemon in your discard pile and switch it with one of your base Pokemon in play. All cards attached damage counter special conditions do stay on the new Pokemon, but that is fine. I just like this card in general. You can switch out stuff. Let's say you open Drapion. You just, okay. And then turn, attach to water or whatever. Turn to, it's a Palkia. Or it's an Articuno. Or whatever. It's also just like, let's say if you only get 1 Palkia out and they knock it out. And they're like, haha, you doesn't have nope, just kidding. Yeah, I do. Or even to put your surprise Articuno back into play. Heck, if you get a Greninja attack off, and then you have a Pokemon that has like 2 energy on it already, and they go and you like bring up your, your Articuno, like, dang, I'm just gonna draw 2 prizes again. So really cool. I love that card. It's very versatile in this deck, especially because it just gets you back in the swing of things without really missing a beat. Especially if you get a bad start, such as the Drapion. Then we got a choice spot, obviously. Do 30 more to Vs. I think there's only one. Usually, I'm not sure if Palkia usually played more than one, but the you can do your math. So you can do 100 with Articuno if you need to do that, and fix your math for a bunch of different matchups. And then the final item in this deck is Emergency Jelly, another new card. At the end of each turn, if the Pokemon this card is attached to has 30 HP or less, heal 120. So you see the combo there is you attack with Articuno. Attack with Articuno gets to 100. You have Emergency Jelly. It's free. That's 2 more attacks at least you got going on with your Articuno, which is super cool. And also maybe if you're playing a match and you're like, I don't think they can knock me out, slap that on your Palkia, get going. Super cool things there. And then we're going to run out the energy with 6 water and 1 wash energy. Prevent all effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to the water Pokemon this is attached to. So no damage counters, no special conditions. No, like, if that's all type attacks, if that really mattered in this thing. Nothing like that. Just a great one-up to have in case you need it. To save yourself from, like, random damage counters. Because a Sableye can just knock this out in 1 hit. So it does stop that from happening, which is really cool. You can also just pop it on, like, your bench Pokemon, Inteleon or something, if you want to save that as well. So we see here Jake took Palkia, which had fallen off, and said, what if we just put Articuno in? So not only do you get a Pokemon that can lock your opponent, take advantage of the decks that don't play a lot of switch cards, is a 1-prizer, and does a decent amount of damage for 2, not to mention combos with your Inteleon, and has a tool that it can heal. There were actually a couple Articuno. This isn't even the only Articuno deck. I know of at least 3 different decks with Articuno. I think Jake's is the coolest because you also just are a Palkia deck. So you just have Palkia. Like, that's crazy. Palkia, sometimes you just, hey, you remember that matchup that was good before the new set? Palkia. Like, you just do that. Because I know Palkia did pretty good against Mew, because if they had a big bench, you could hit for a lot. Palkia. So, I really like that. I like what Jake did there. Again, congratulations to Jake and Michael Davidson, who I know did play it, based on Jake's tweet I am looking at. Everybody else played it. Hope you did well. Also, I'm actually going to build this right now to help my friends test. They requested it. I'll link Jake's Twitter along with Michael Davidson's in the description of the video, along with the deck list, so you can easily copy and paste to try it out yourself. I highly, highly recommend you do that. This is the T table. I'm Josh Hatter. That's a good Articuno. And I will see you next time.